Okay, so you've decided you know what company you're gonna invest in. You decided to enter the stock market. But before you can do that, you need to open a brokerage account. What sort of brokerage account should I open up? Hey guys, it's your favourite YouTuber again, Danny Solari, and you're watching This Learning Finance. Whoa. Now, today's episode is about opening up a brokerage account. I'm going to go through the main points in which you should think about whenever you open up a brokerage account. You know, get the popcorn ready, sit tight, it's going to be an interesting one. Now, a big sort of fee that you have to consider whenever you're starting up a brokerage account is your standard account fees. This is your premium that you will pay for buying and selling shares. Now, in England, on average, the sort of standard account fees tend to range between £10 to roughly up or down that by probably like a few quid. You do have the extreme cases where it can go up to even 20 quid. And you do also have the low end cases where it can be as cheap as literally £5. But all in all, on average, they tend to be £10. Now that's your standard account fee. With that said, you can have a discounted fee. A discounted fee is obviously at a lower price than the sort of full price standard account fee. The reason why you pay less is because you're valued, you're seen as a regular, you're seen as the person who comes in and always is utilising that brokerage account. So it's kind of like when you enter a shop and you get so used to being the customer there every Friday, the owner of the shop then starts to give you little perks in the sense of maybe they might give you a drink, for example, 5p off if you're short of change, but because they know you're a regular. So that's a good example of why brokerage account will sort of have a discounted rate. So it's for people who are regulars, people who make more than just one bid a month. They may make up to even 10, 20, 50 even bids per month. And so because of the fact that they are regulars, they can get a discounted rate. With that said, there is a flip turn on it as well, because even though you may have a discounted fee to pay, which means that you're paying less, you can be paid for a regular investing fee as well. So it's literally like taking 10 steps forward and then taking 10 steps back. So sit down, do the maths and think about what actually is the overall gain. In the long run, other type of fee you need to consider is your reinvest dividends fee. This is the fee for reinvesting your dividend. So you know how I go on and on about compound interesting, which if you don't know about, guys, you should know about just from watching my videos. Yeah, because I go on and on about compound interesting. This one's a biggie for me because of the fact that when you're reinvesting your dividends, you obviously are utilising the full maximum dividends that you're getting and putting it back into your investment. But because of the fact that you now have to pay a fee on that reinvestment dividends, it's only taking in a smaller portion of your dividends and actually reinvesting it. So therefore, the potential of your compound interest in is not as much, but it's simply because you're not getting actually as much as you would be getting if you weren't paying the fee. With that said, your dividend reinvesting fees tend to fluctuate from £1 to £2, so they're quite small. But also remember that your dividends are quite small. So say for example I invested in ABC stocks at £100, they give me a 2% dividend yield. So I therefore get £2 back. What to do? That's awesome. But now, because I'm part of a certain brokerage account, I therefore have to pay a reinvesting dividend fee. And say my fee was £1. So that would mean after accommodating for the fees, I would therefore have £1 left as opposed to my £2. So it'll take me roughly twice as long to get to where I wanted to get to. Obviously that's not exact, but that's just a rough gauge. So you can see how obviously your reinvesting dividend fees can disrupt your compound interest in effect, because it ultimately means it takes longer for you to get to where you wanted to get to. Now the other type of fee is your ISA fees. This can go hand in hand with your reinvesting dividend fee if you're more of the long-term investor, but also it can go hand in hand with your short-term investor sort of mentality, because obviously if you are below a certain threshold, you can avoid paying capital gains tax on it. But with that said, nonetheless, you'd have to pay a fee for having setting up an ISA, and that can be quite a biggie. So for most companies, most brokerage accounts, they tend to have an ISA fee of like roughly £30 to £80. You can imagine that is gobsmacking. That is a lot, guys. So imagine that means that you have to make that much amount of money as a bare minimum if you want to just about break even with an ISA. But this is where it comes with your intelligence. You have to do your maths. You have to picture yourself, envision yourself and what sort of investor you are, and apply your knowledge to that case. Now you have the SIP fees. This stands for self-invested personal pension fees, or otherwise known as DIY pension fees. So instead of having your pension paid into obviously a designated bank account that obviously specializes in pensions, instead of having that, would keep all your pension money and would reinvest it via a SIPP fee. Now if you thought the fees for the ISA were quite bad, the fees for the SIPP fees are horrendous. You can pay up to £90 to £180 per year for having that account. That is gobsmacking. That is massive compared to the ISA. But the important part is to think about where you're standing in respect of that. So if you want to do your investing via SIPP, you need to make sure that you have a large amount of money to outweigh the fees, because those fees are normally the most expensive out of all the fees that you have to pay for a brokerage account. In the short term, those fees are normally the most expensive. So you want to make sure you come in with your best foot forward in order to accommodate for the losses. Now you do have miscellaneous other type of fees. These include things like inactivity fees, i.e. you haven't invested in for the last 3 months and therefore you're paying this fee because you have invested, you're not using us. You pay those sort of inactivity fees. You can have admin fees for people who are doing all the paperwork for you. You can have transfer out fees. So you say you've decided to take all your money and you want to put it back into your bank account, you have to pay a fee for that. You can have one-off fees, guys. This is one to watch for. A lot of companies, brokerage accounts, have one-off fees that a lot of people overlook. One-off fees can be quite expensive. I know some brokerage accounts that can even charge hundreds of pounds for a one-off fee. As a result, guys, the key point is you need to understand what type of investor you are. Now, you have fees that you want to avoid more than others because of the type of investor you are. For example, if I'm a long-term investor, I might want to go with a brokerage account that has a low reinvested dividend fee and a low ISA fee, because I'm more of that long-term investor. Even though the discounted rates may not be as good as the other way around, but because I'm a long-term investor, I'm also thinking about long-term as opposed to that. So that's why it's important to tailor your brokerage account to what you want. Don't just go and find, okay, what's the most popular brokerage account? Because that brokerage account may be suitable for a different type of investor as opposed to what you're looking to do. So all in all, do the maths, guys. Think about what sort of investor you are and you will know which option to go for. And as a result, guys, that's the end of my video. Did you enjoy it? You know you enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it. But yeah, in all seriousness, guys, if you like this topic that I talked about, then you know to do like this video. If you also enjoyed beautiful face and you also like my trim, you know what to do. Subscribe to my channel because there's more of this face to come. And if you just want to discuss this further, then share my channel, guys. LSS DS Learning Finance. Whoa, bye.
You like a